Lembo coordinates the United Nations efforts in Yemen. He joins us now from Sana'a. Mr. Lembo, what is the UN's assessment of the situation in Yemen right now?
Our assessment is that continues to be difficult, although there are positive and negative elements together that we recognize in the latest development. On the negative side is that no positive breakthrough has occurred in the last few days and hours, in spite of the intense negotiations among all the parties to this ongoing crisis. On the positive side, it has to be registered that the parties continue to talk. Given the challenges that we have before us and we have faced in the last few weeks and months, this is an important element we have to recognize and we have to continue to nurture and to support. We have a monumental challenge before us. We have to make sure that we all appreciate it should not be left into the hands of the people of Yemen only. That would be a tragic mistake. This is a challenge for which many people around this nation have a stake in and have to contribute to address, as they are doing, but perhaps we have to do more altogether. And that is the role of the UN, as to catalyze energy to make sure that we give a solution to a crisis that, if he's left on his own, if he continues to slide to the precipice as it is now, can have severe consequences to the whole of the Middle East and its future stability.
Now, with the collapse of the government, who's in charge of the country right now?
Good question. There are several answers to this question. If you look at the practicalities, in Sana'a, from where I'm speaking to you now, there is one dominant force which is in charge, especially in the street, because it's very visible. Those are the Houthis, the ones that have come down to the capital city, Sana'a, from their original region, which is north of Yemen, in and around Sana'a. They control de facto the checkpoint, they control the streets, and they have also a number of their supporters that are in the ministries, actually, and that control the logistics of the ministry, surrounds the ministries. The president is de facto sort of under house arrest by the Houthi. So is the prime minister and a number of ministers here. We do not see clashes, we do not see risks of widespread unrest now in the city. For the time being, the city is quiet, but it's a sort of sinister quiet. It's a quiet which is unnatural, because in reality we are in a vacuum. We do not have a president, we do not have a prime minister, we do not have a government. We need to make sure that we address this crisis institutionally with the right system and not to the use of the gun.
Now, we had a close aide to the president, Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak, who was captured. He's now been released. What can you tell us about that?
I can only speculate that this unfortunate event was intended to be, by those that performed it, as a sort of warning to the President of the Republic, former President of the Republic, President Hadi, as an expression of displeasure for what the Chief of Staff of the President, Dr. Ahmed bin Mubarak, you just mentioned, was seen as an important factor into the formulation of the new constitution of the country, which inter alia envisaged a new structure for the country comprising 6 different regions. And many believe that the Houthis were not favorable to this kind of federal system, dividing the countries in 6 regions, and were opposed to that. Hence, they wanted to send a signal to the president that they were displeased on this constitution, they disagreed on that, and tried to block this course of action through this unfortunate decision of kidnapping the Chief of Staff of the President, something that we condemned. We have condemned in the strongest possible terms, of course.
Now, is the country still functioning, or have services come to a standstill? I mean, you've got a situation there that is full of tension, there's been violence. What is going on? I mean, are people able to go about their lives normally?
From a technical point of view, the country is still functioning. I think if it is so, it's only for the miraculous, I can't find any other word to define it, miraculous resilience, the stamina of the people of this nation. They've been suffering this roller coaster political dynamics for hundreds of thousands of years. They still move on. They still hold on to the value of brotherhood, coexistence, with remarkable sense of resilience. So of course people move on. They have no other choice. I would add that I'm not sure that this will continue for that long. There is a sort of sense of exhaustion. People are exhausted by these prolonged tensions, violence, injustice, conflict that have lasted for hundreds of years. 1000 rule of the imamate until 62, and the various wars, the section, the division of the country into fronts, then 30 years plus rule, authoritarian rule of President Ali Abdullah Saleh, then the revolution 2011, the challenges of the national dialogue also, the tremendous effort that everybody, for the first time in the country history, getting together, women, academic, intellectual, the private sector, tribal representative, for the first time in a free manner, getting together for over 1 year. The United Nations played a significant role in that. And then, unfortunately, the government failed in implementing this recommendation and hence answering to legitimate people's expectations. And this has built up frustration, has built up tensions, and then they open up opportunity to the group which was best organized military, best armed, best determined, the Houthi, to come down from their region, Saada in the north, to Sana'a, and de facto seize the capital. Also, rallying around certain expectations that were legitimate, we must say. The expectation to bring to an end corruption, the expectation to involve more people in the management of public affairs of the city, the expectation to bring more economic equality, more justice among the different ethnic groups of the country. Some of the expectations that the Houthi are trying to bring about are legitimate. The point is, you don't satisfy this expectation with the rule of the gun. You satisfy this by making sure that you approve a constitution that responds to most of the people, and then you have a government that responds to this constitution after an election takes place. And that's what we're trying to do.
So you have a political crisis in Yemen right now, and I was wondering, what other challenges does the United Nations face in that country? Are there, for instance, humanitarian concerns amid all this turmoil?
Very much so. The United Nations has fundamentally three distinct dimensions of its operation in Yemen. We have a very large operation in this country. Last year, we had a commitment that was over $500 million. Over 20 United Nations agencies operate to resident representations in Yemen, throughout Yemen. We have over 1,000 staff, and currently we have over 150 international staff members. So we have not abandoned this country, even in the most difficult moment, even face remarkable challenges, security inclusive, as you may know. We continue to operate in most of the country. We are very close to the Yemeni people. We operate through many NGOs that are composed of Yemeni staff, a Yemeni professional that has been delivering assistance to Yemeni displaced by several waves of conflict in the country. The internally displaced population grew very large at a certain point of time, but also the refugees that come from Eastern Africa, from Somalia, that, believe it or not, keep coming in the country, that pose an additional burden in the country. Of course, the void and the crisis, the phenomenal crisis we are facing at this point of time, poses additional challenges to that. In the end, few doubt that if one beneficiary will emerge from this crisis, that is not going to be the people of Yemen, that is going to be the people of al-Qaida, that will find more and more fertile ground to operate. Exactly because of this vacuum. And then the consequence, we have to understand all, are not going to be paid only by the people of Yemen, by the international community, as we have well seen from the events, the tragic events that occurred in France in the last few weeks.
Paolo Lembo, thank you for joining us, sir.